Good evening, everyone. First of all, I wish you all happy CA Day in advance. And thanks WIRC for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. The chairman called yesterday evening to me to take this session, and we discussed in length what exactly he want me to cover. So he said that we will cover issues and changes. The changes, so definitely I will cover. But as far as issues are concerned, so unless we will have some discussion, there will not be any result to that. So for that, I request everyone to come in front so we have a healthy discussion on the issues. I am waiting for everyone to come in front. As far as Chairman Ketan Bhai is concerned, he is giving his 100%. I would say one of the matured chairmen in the recent past, and the way he handles everything is really great, and the innovative idea of annual membership is really fantastic. Ketan Bhai. So as far as GST is concerned, before the tribunal has been set up, till now it has not been yet set up, but we are seeing various case laws are there. And हर हफ्ते हर महीने कुछ न कुछ changes आते रहते हैं. Correct? So that keeps us busy. And if you see the most of the changes and maybe the most of the litigations are in the topic of input tax credit. So whenever in June 2016, when the draft law came and government said that we are bringing this GST, the objective was that the credit should be seamless and the cost to the consumer should be reduced. That was the ultimate objective. And that objective can be met only and only with the seamless ITC. So whether ITC is seamless, so day by day it's becoming more and more complicated. So anyway, जो है उसी को हमको इंटरप्रेट करना है और आगे बढ़ना है. So from 1st July, that is from tomorrow, there are certain changes has been proposed as far as the GST returns are concerned, and which will have a impact, far-reaching impact. So now from tomorrow onwards, you will not be in a position to file any of your GST return जिसको कि already due date को 3 साल हो गए. So now 2022 के पहले के रिटर्न आप नहीं भर पाएंगे. So if anything has been left out or any mistake has been done, so सेशन के बाद जाके आपको ये काम करना है, because you have a time till 12 today midnight. So whether the return is maybe GSTR1, GSTR3B, 4, 5, 5A, so list is long because GST के तो return ही खत्म नहीं होते. So now, so hence the taxpayers are once again advised to reconcile their records and files and their GST return as soon as possible. And 2022 से onwards भी है, अगर कोई रिटर्न छूट गए हैं, कुछ भी रीज़न है, तो just go and tell your client that this has been not filed, you kindly file the same. Otherwise you will not be in a position to file later on. Next is hard locking of auto-populated liability in GSTR 3B. What is the meaning of this? सो अभी तक हम क्या करते हैं, वी फाइल GSTR1, करेक्ट. इफ समथिंग हैज बीन लेफ्ट आउट, so we make the payment in GSTR 3B and make the payment to avoid the interest cost on the same. So there may be a difference between your data in 1 and data in 3B and vice versa also possible कि 1 में भले ही कुछ भी डेटा आ रहा है उससे भी कम आप पेमेंट दिखा के पेमेंट कर सकते हो. दैट इज पॉसिबल बोथ द वेज. And whatever data you have filed in GSTR1, you can amend by GSTR1A also, the same data. So 1 में whatever data you have filed, if you think कि ये डेटा मेरा गलत पंच हो गया है या मेरा ज़्यादा लाइबिलिटी चली गई है, कम चली गई है, तो 1A से you can be able to do that. But now from July 25 onwards, so maybe whenever you are going to file your July month return in August, 3B in 20th August. So whatever may be your liability, it is not, you are not allowed to edit the same. So whatever you have to do in your GSTR1. So same month you can edit by 1A, or maybe next month में अगर कुछ edit करना है तो directly you can amend the 1. 1A will not be amendable after the next month, correct. But whatever may be the liability will come in 1, same will go in your 3B. So आज की तारीख में हम कई जगह पे ये प्रॉब्लम फेस करते हैं कि GSTR 2B में डेटा दिख रहा है एंड देन वी टेक द क्रेडिट, यस और नो. देन डिपार्टमेंट वन फाइन मॉर्निंग कम्स एंड से नहीं है 2B में तो दिख रहा है लेकिन सामने वाले ने पेमेंट ही नहीं किया, एंड सिंस ही हैज नॉट मेड द पेमेंट, now we will recover from you, correct. We are facing this, no? Yes. So may be possible that 1 में liability दिखा दिया 1 करोड़ का और पेमेंट किया 25 लाख का, but now it will not be possible. So to some extent it is beneficial also as far as the recipient is concerned. So these are the amendments which we have to take in mind, which are going to happen from tomorrow onwards. Now certain issues I am going to take as far as ITC is concerned. So if you have any particular issue you want to discuss, anytime we can discuss as far as ITC is related, or maybe some issues I have prepared that I will go through the same. So if you have any issue, I love to deal with that first. So ITC is very simplified. No issues at all. Whether ITC is available to the registered person in case whether registration was cancelled earlier, but the department and the time limit for filing application of revocation was also been lapsed. What is the meaning of that? So I have a registration, okay. For certain reason that registration has been cancelled by the department. Maybe I have not filed the return, maybe that I may not be at the place whenever the department has visited. So there may be various reasons. So they have cancelled my registration, okay. Then later on I came to know that my registration has been cancelled. So I clear all my liabilities and after making payment, I have paid the tax and my registration has been restored. And for that, return has not been filed in the year 2023. They have come out with some amnesty scheme also. So the issue in this is whether I can take the ITC of that period. Suppose मेरा 22-23 में रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल हो गया, समवेयर इन जनवरी 24 मैं नींद से जागा एंड मैंने रिस्टोर कराया. सो कैन आई टेक द ITC ऑफ 22-23? So in the year 23, they have come out with a special provision for revocation of cancellation of registration. And they have amended section 29 2B. And they said the person paying tax under, so they have given certain conditions and they said that you can revocate your registration. Because in the past what was happened is, they have put cancellation notice on the portal. People were not aware, so they have not responded. Correct? Then they have suo motu cancel the registration also. And appeal करने का भी टाइम मेरा चला गया. ऐसे भी काफ़ी केसेस हमने देखे हैं. So they have introduced a special procedure by notification 3/23 on 31st March 23, and they have given a timeline that on or before 31st December 22, whatever registration has been cancelled, they can be revoked, and a person whose appeal in the matter of cancellation restoration has been rejected for non-compliance, such person shall file an application. So I am not going into that because that is the history. And revocation to be filed by 30th June, and it was further extended till 31st August 23. So what you have to do is you have to make the payment along with interest, penalty and late fees. And all this has to be done till August 23 for the past period. There is a timeline in section 16.4. What is the timeline for taking credit? Earlier September, then November. So what they did is, they given this facility of revocation in the year 23. But at the same time, they have not given any relaxation of this availment of ITC in 16.4. So मेरा 20 में अगर कैंसिल हो गया तो उसका क्रेडिट तो मुझे नहीं मिलेगा. So I have to pay with interest, tax, etc., etc., etc. So that was the challenge at that point of time. Then in the year 24, they have come out and they have inserted a new section, section 16.5 as well as section 16.6. Where they said that for the financial year 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, the time limit under section 16.4 will be deemed to be 30th November 21. So 20-21 का मेरा कुछ छूट गया है तो भी मैं नवंबर 21 तक अगर मैंने क्रेडिट लिया है और उसका रिवोकेशन करा लिया है सो भी मुझे क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा. तो अगेन इन दिस इशू वाज those who were genuine taxpayer. So अगर मेरा कुछ छूट गया तो मैंने क्रेडिट लिया ही नहीं. करेक्ट? बट आई हैव सम फ्रॉडलेंट माइंड और मैंने बोला चलो ठीक है मैं ले लेता हूँ फिर देखेंगे लिटिगेशन होगा. You took the risk. If you took the risk, you will be beneficiary. You understood how it has been given. And 16.6 says that the where registration of a registered person is cancelled under section 29 and subsequently the cancellation of registration is revoked. So basically what is saying that 16.4 का जो time limit है for doing this, how you have to calculate is, so take an example, date of order of revocation or of cancellation. Suppose scenario 1, it is 1st July 24 for the period October 23 to 31st March 24. So it says that it is within the time limit of 16/4, then it will remain as 30th November. But suppose revocation happened on 1st January 25. And what was the time limit? 30th November 24? Yes or no? Yes. So they say that in that scenario, it will be either 30th November 24 or 30 days from revocation of registration. That is 1st January 25. Whichever is later, that time limit will be applicable. So this provision came in the year 24 with retrospective amendment. So उस टाइम पे भी आपने गलती से रजिस्ट्रेशन रिटर्न में क्रेडिट लेके which was not allowed legally, so you will be benefited. But subject to condition that revocation हुआ है उसके 30 days में you have to make the payment. Otherwise, even if you are going for revocation, then credit will not be available under the amnesty scheme which was given in the year 23 and this came in the year 24. So as of now, this benefit is available. Now another issue is time limit to avail the ITC in case of reverse charge mechanism. What is reverse charge mechanism? Yes. So where the recipient is liable to pay GST, and once he will make the payment of GST, same month he can take the credit. Correct? Now in this, two types of scenario possible. One is where the supplier is registered and another is where the supplier is unregistered. Take an example of GTA. So GTA may be providing service of GTA, storage and warehousing, etc., etc., multiple services, logistic services. So storage and warehousing he is liable to pay under forward charge. For GTA he is opted for RCM. Correct? So if I am availing RCM services or if I am availing a GTA services from that GTA, so he will issue the tax invoice. Correct? And in that he will disclose that liable to be paid by the recipient, and he will upload the same in his GSTR1 and it will be coming in my GSTR2B. And then from that I will make the payment and then take the credit on the basis of the invoice issued by the supplier. Correct? Second possibility, then same GTA is not registered at all because he has no liability. He is providing only GTA service and he is absolutely under RCM only. So he is required to register? No, unregistered. If I am availing services, so who will issue tax invoice? Self-invoicing. So I am required to issue, as a recipient, required to issue the tax invoice. Whatever invoice has been issued by GTA has no value as far as GST is concerned. Definitely commercial value is there, income tax में मुझे उसकी ज़रूरत लगेगी. So now here the question is, suppose the services has been received in the year 21-22 and payment of the same has been made in the September 2022. When I can avail the credit? September 22 because it is within the time limit of 16/4. Second, 21-22 क्या liability था? 24-25 में मेरा GST audit हुआ. And then he point out that this liability has not been paid by me. So I realized the mistake and I made the payment. So whether I can avail the ITC on the same? Yes or no? मिलेगा? 16/4 का टाइम लिमिट चला गया. यस सर, कुछ बोल रहे थे आप? Can we have a mic, Mishra ji?
I think the payment time limit will be applicable from when the payment is made in the year financial year 24-25. Then time will be 30th November 2025.
Okay. So you said because of that it will be available. Okay. We'll go little bit deeper with the reasoning. So section 16(2) gives the conditions to us for claiming credit, and which says that no registered person shall be entitled to credit of any input tax credit in respect of any supply of goods or services or both to him unless he is in possession of a tax invoice. Correct? Now two scenarios. Supplier is registered and supplier is unregistered. Correct? If supplier is registered, so tax invoice has been issued when? At the time of supply. Correct? In the year 2021 in our example. If supplier is unregistered, so when the tax invoice will be issued? In the year 24-25, because मैंने payment ही नहीं किया, मुझे पता ही नहीं था. So definitely I presume that no tax invoice has been issued. So I am not satisfying this condition of 16(2)(a) in case of unregistered. In case of registered, so both the answer we will analyze by side. Then again section 16(2) से power लेके they have come out with section rule 36. Rule 36(1) says that what are the documents required to claim the input tax credit? Whatever has been mentioned in 16(2)(a). Correct? So that has been repeated in 36(1). And 36(1)(b) says that input tax credit shall be availed by a registered person on the basis of an invoice issued in accordance with the provision of section 31(3)(f) of the CGST. Correct? Further, section 31(3)(f) says that a registered person who is liable to pay under 9(3) or 9(4) shall issue a self-invoice in case of unregistered. Correct? Services received, goods or services received by him from the supplier who is not registered on the date of receipt of goods or services or both. These are the provisions given if we read rule 36(1) along with section 31(3)(f). Correct? So there is no ambiguity as far as the registered person is concerned. Correct? Now if we go to 16(4) says that a registered person shall not be entitled to take input tax credit in respect of any invoice or debit note for supply of goods or services or both after the 30th November following the end of the financial year to which such invoice or debit note pertains. So now, if supplier is registered, their invoice has been issued on 21-22, then it pertains to year 21-22. Correct? Then 24-25, can I take the credit? Answer is no. But from unregistered supplier, if we read 16(4), so according to me, it is pertain to year 24-25, not pertain to year 21-22 as far as the invoice is concerned. 16(4) nowhere talking about the supply of service or supply of goods, date of supply of service or supply of goods. It's talking about the invoice. Correct? So in case of unregistered supply, this is the scenario. And the same has been confirmed by the department in circular 211 dated 26th June 2024, giving all this reasoning and saying that in case of unregistered supply, the date of invoice, from that you have to calculate the 16/4 limit. So 24-25 में अगर इशू हुआ है, मार्च 25 में इशू हुआ है, तो 30 नवंबर 25 तक मेरे पास टाइम है क्रेडिट लेने का. So now this issue is very peculiar when the audit comes. और वो आके क्या बोलता है ऑफिसर आपको, सबसे पहले ये आरसीएम में आपने भरा नहीं है, इसको डीआरसी से भर दो इमीडिएटली along with interest and penalty. यस और नो? तो करने का क्या? अनरजिस्टर्ड सप्लाई है, अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन से सप्लाई है. डू नॉट go what he is saying, because once you are making payment, and then further it is saying that rule circular further says that you will get the credit also. What you will lose is the interest, because it will be cost to you, because वो आपको 21-22 में भरना था, आपने 24-25 में भरा, इंटरेस्ट का कुछ नहीं होगा, लेकिन जो पेमेंट किया उसका क्रेडिट आपको सेम मंथ में मिल जाएगा. बट फॉर टेकिंग क्रेडिट अगेन वी हैव टू गो थ्रू अ 2B route or 3B route. If you make the payment from DRC, तो you will not get the credit. So in that scenario, भले ही आपको 15 दिन 20 दिन का एक्स्ट्रा इंटरेस्ट लग रहा है, बिकॉज आप तो पेमेंट कब करोगे, 1 तो अपलोड करोगे 11 को और पेमेंट तो 20 को या 18 को ही करोगे ना, क्योंकि इसका अकेले का पेमेंट तो 3B में नहीं होगा. बट यू विल नॉट लूज द प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट. And do not get pressurized from that audit team. You make the payment immediately in DRC. Once you make the payment in DRC, then difficult to get the credit. That mechanism is not available. Yeah. There is no time limit for self-invoicing. See, it is supposed to be issued. What time limit has been given in case of आरसीएम का भी उसने दिया है, बट मैंने गलती कर दिया या मैंने लेट इशू किया, तो 16/4 में ये नहीं बोला ड्यू डेट ऑफ इशू ऑफ इनवॉइस, इट सेज व्हेन इनवॉइस पर्टेन टू. यस, सो दैट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द वर्डिंग्स. सो वी कैन टेक द बेनिफिट, एंड दैट व्हाट द सर्कुलर ऑल्सो हाईलाइट द सेम. एंड व्हाट Yeah, in that scenario. So that's what I'm saying. If it is supplied by a registered person, then you have no option. And you are smart enough. आया, टैक्स इनवॉइस भी इशू कर दिया, लेकिन पेमेंट नहीं किया, तो भी आपको बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. बट आप टोटली इग्नोरेंट हैं, देन यू कैन गेट द बेनिफिट. या टुडेज डेट डेफिनेटली, पुराना तो ही नहीं सकता है ना. सी अभी तक उन्होंने कोई पेनल्टी लेवी नहीं किया है. फॉर दैट आपका जो डिफॉल्ट है प्रैक्टिकली, डेफिनेटली दे आर आस्किंग फॉर अ इंटरेस्ट, एंड दैट यू आर लायबल टू पे इंटरेस्ट ऑल्सो. दैट इंटरेस्ट विल बी डेफिनेटली योर कॉस्ट. एंड सिंस दिस इज अ सर्कुलर, एंड सर्कुलर issued by a board is binding on the board, so definitely you can fight on the basis of this circular. So that circular is categorically says that in case the recipient of invoice after the time of supply of the said supply and pay the tax accordingly, ठीक है, and he will be required to pay interest on such delayed payment of the tax. Further, in cases of such delayed issuance of invoice by the recipient, he may also be liable for penal action under section 122. बट अभी तक कुछ भी ऐसा पेनल एक्शन लिया नहीं है, एंड दैट तो यू कैन मैनेज. So what summary I can draw from this circular, or what I understood from this circular is, so board want to say that it emphasizes that if the revenue is compensated with interest, For delay discharge of tax liability under reverse charge mechanism, the due credit should not be denied based on time of supply. Nowhere explicitly they have not mentioned anything this in the circular, but if you can summarize this, तो what I understood is that this is what the circular says, कि अगर मुझे कोई नुकसान नहीं है, रेवेन्यू को कोई नुकसान नहीं है, तो फिर बेनिफिट दे देना चाहिए. डेफिनेटली इंटरेस्ट का जो है लॉस वो तो भरना है आपको. एनीथिंग ऑन दिस? So if you have already made the payment, so this circular is not dealing with that. But if you have not issued the tax invoice, so definitely वो penalty है, वो एक आपका तलवार जो है वो है, but फिर भी आपको benefit तो मिलेगा, because this circular says that invoice is not pertaining to tax invoice pertaining to this, and you are getting a credit only and only on the basis of the tax invoice. Section 16(2)(a). I'll move further. Yes, sir. So now 16(6) they have inserted, and which says that कि आपका जो एक तो है some date of cancellation. ठीक है, डेट ऑफ कैंसिलेशन जो हो गया उसके बाद का जब तक आपका रिवोकेशन नहीं होगा, यू कांट बी एबल टू फाइल द रिटर्न ऑल्सो. तो ड्यूरिंग 2 साल का पीरियड है, 1 साल का पीरियड है, 3 साल का पीरियड है, कुछ भी हो, 2.5 साल का पीरियड है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. बिकॉज नाउ 1 जुलाई ऑनवर्ड्स तो आपका 3 साल से ज़्यादा का हो नहीं सकता है, क्योंकि उसके बाद का रिटर्न लेगा नहीं. अब उसके लिए कोई मैकेनिज्म लाते हैं कि नहीं लाते हैं, दैट नीड टू बी सीन इन केस ऑफ रिवोकेशन क्या करेंगे. सो वंस रिवोकेशन विल बी डन, उसके 30 दिन में जो भी आप रिटर्न भरोगे, भले ही लास्ट 2 साल का भरा, 1 साल का भरा, उसका सब क्रेडिट आपको मिलेगा. दैट 16(6) इज ओवरराइडिंग 16(4). So that mechanism actually they have not given, but what I believe or what I have seen, that court will interpret the law, not the system. And once law is saying that कि you are eligible for any benefit, so because your system is not there, उसकी वजह से मेरा benefit deny नहीं हो सकता. And there are numerous cases in the Supreme Court on this, कि benefit cannot be denied. रिवोकेशन ओके, उसके बाद तो सर आप 30 दिन के बाद तो क्रेडिट नहीं देगा ना आपको, 3 साल के बाद कैसा देगा. नहीं तो रिवोकेशन जब भी हुआ ना, सी अपील में आपको भले ही 2 साल लग गया, अपील का ऑर्डर आते आते 2 साल लग गया, तो 2 साल का भी क्रेडिट तो आपको मिलेगा. नहीं, मेरे रिसिपेंट का बात कर रहे हैं. तो 16(6) इज टॉकिंग अबाउट एज इफ आई एम अ रिसिपेंट. मेरे रिसिपेंट के बारे में अभी तक साइलेंट है, बिकॉज मेरे 2B में तो गया ही नहीं, मतलब 1 में नहीं गया तो 2B में नहीं गया, 2B में नहीं गया तो उसको कैसे मिलेगा. वो एक चैलेंज आज भी खड़ा है कि रिसिपेंट को, मेरे रिसिपेंट को तो इशू है, उसके लिए 16(4) का लिमिट और वो सब तो लगेगा ही. दैट चैलेंज इज देयर. This is the major issue what we are facing now, whether the ITC can be claimed by the purchasing dealer in a situation where the supplier has collected the tax from the purchasing dealer and not paid to the government. क्या होगा? Okay, circular 183 you are talking about. नहीं, उसके फैक्ट फिर भी अलग हैं. सर्कुलर 183 इज टॉकिंग अबाउट 2A, कि 2A में नहीं दिख रहा. यस, तो 2A में नहीं दिख रहा, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि उसने पेमेंट नहीं किया. तो both are facts are different. So what I suggest to my client is NGTP बोल के हमारा क्रेडिट डिनाई हो जाता है in most of the cases. And client asks कि मैं क्या करूं? सबसे पहले go back to your supplier. That what I suggest to all my clients. Go back to your supplier. Find out what is the actual fact is. क्योंकि आपके पास आने के पहले डेफिनेटली डिपार्टमेंट सप्लायर के पास गया होगा. इनिशियल स्टेजेस में वैसे केसेस भी हुए हैं कि सप्लायर के पास नहीं गया और आपसे ही रिकवरी कर लिया. सो आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट केस नाउ. Nowadays department is smart enough and they first go to the supplier. तो go to the supplier. सबसे पहले तो रिसिपिएंट जो अपना क्लाइंट हमारे पास आया है उसको पूछो जेन्युइन ट्रांजैक्शन है कि नहीं है. उसको हमने मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है वो बोलेगा नहीं नहीं मेरा परचेज तो जेन्युइन है. इफ़ यू आस्क 2-3 मोर क्वेश्चन ना सो बोलेगा नहीं मैंने तो बिल लिया था. So if transactions are not genuine, so you can't be able to do anything. Because we have practically seen that स्कूटर के ऊपर 10 टन माल डिलीवरी हो गया. बिकॉज ई-वे बिल बना, ई-वे बिल में व्हीकल नंबर डाला, व्हीकल नंबर हम मोटर परिवहन की साइट पे जाते हैं तो इट शोज 2-व्हीलर एंड 10 टन गुड्स. इज इट पॉसिबल? सो आंसर इज नो. उसने डाला ट्रक का ही नंबर है बट उसके फास्टैग में दिखा रहा है वो ट्रक तो चेन्नई में है और मेरा माल गया सेम टाइम पे बॉम्बे से सूरत और सेम डे को ट्रक उसका चेन्नई में खड़ा है. तो वो पॉसिबल है? नहीं है. सो फर्स्ट यू फाइंड आउट द फैक्ट. मेनी टाइम डिपार्टमेंट ऑल्सो सेज सर इसका ई-वे बिल ही नहीं है. सो व्हेन ई-वे बिल इज रिक्वायर्ड, more than 50,000. ठीक है. For movement of goods in a motorized vehicle. It is not for a supply of goods. There is a difference between supply of goods and movement of goods. Even if there is no movement of goods, supply can take place. Yes or no? Correct, na? So if this is the fact that there is no movement of goods but there is a supply, so that also you need to substantiate that there is a no movement of goods, that's why e-way bill is not required. Where I was sitting with one of the officer in state department and he said ki we have all the data which goods has been moved, not moved, and accordingly in future we are going to issue a reconciliation notice for e-way bill and supply. So this kind of notices may come. So definitely there will not be e-way bill. तो वो बोलेगा अरे सप्लाई है, e-way bill किधर है? Correct? So what is important is that first and foremost important is find out the fact. और थोड़ा दबा के क्लाइंट को पूछेंगे तो हकीकत बताता है कि जेन्युइन ट्रांजैक्शन है कि नहीं है. That is what my experience is. नहीं है तो what we should do is हम कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे. बराबर है. दूसरा ट्रांजैक्शन जेन्युइन है. सो उसका फैक्ट क्या है? अब इन वन ऑफ माय केस पार्टी ने माल परचेज किया 21-22 में. 2A में भी दिखा, उसने 3B के रिटर्न भी फाइल किए सप्लायर ने, एंड माल का मूवमेंट भी हुआ, मेरे गोडाउन में माल भी आ गया, सब हो गया. समवेयर इन November 23 a departmental official went to the registered place of supplier. वहाँ पे गया तो बोले उधर तो मिस्टर एक्स नहीं है, मिस्टर वाई बैठा है. और मिस्टर वाई बोलता मुझे नहीं पता मिस्टर एक्स कौन है. So then he dig out the fact. So the fact was that Mr. X was working till March 23. Then he vacated the place and it was on a rented place and he closed down his business. तो 1 अप्रैल 23 से लेके उसने नवंबर 23 तक का कोई रिटर्न नहीं भरा, तो उसको नोटिस भेजा होगा, सब रिटर्न आ रहा होगा, तो जाके ऑफिसर ने देखा और बोला इधर तो है ही नहीं, तो उसने रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव उसका कैंसिल कर दिया रजिस्ट्रेशन. करेक्ट? देन व्हाट विल हैपन? सो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग कि foremost सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है यू फाइंड आउट द फैक्ट. दिस काइंड ऑफ केस यू कैन फाइट and you will definitely get the benefit. Why? Because section 16.1 read with section 16.2 is very clear that if you are satisfying all these conditions, credit will be available. And what are the conditions? You should be in possession of tax invoice. Again, इसमें भी हमारा एक्सपीरियंस ये है कि if I have a multiple GSTN, and in many cases we have seen that head office is in Maharashtra or maybe in Mumbai, मेरा GST ऑडिट आया है गुजरात का, वो बोलता है मुझे इन्वॉइस दिखाओ. आप बोलते हो इन्वॉइस तो है ही नहीं मेरे पास, सब इन्वॉइस मेरे बॉम्बे में है क्योंकि ऑडिट के लिए मैंने वहीं पे भेज दिया है. होना क्या चाहिए? कॉपी उधर होना ही चाहिए, बिकॉज 16.2a clearly says that you should be in possession. Who should be in possession? Not Mumbai office, only Gujarat office. So either you should have a scan copy if digital invoice, or otherwise original invoice has to be with Gujarat. So this is the first condition to be satisfied. Details of above invoice or debit note have been communicated to the recipient in 2B. This condition has been added from 1st January 2022. उसके पहले ये condition नहीं थी. So 2B में अगर नहीं दिख रहा है तो can I take the credit? Answer is no. The next is he should receive the goods or services. Last week on this received of goods or services, a very good friend of mine is a chartered accountant. He got the notice from the department. उसने क्या किया, शायद आपके केस में भी होता होगा, आई डोंट नो. एक क्लाइंट के केस में इनवॉइस इशू किया फॉर फाइलिंग ऑफ इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न, 1 लाख रुपीज प्लस GST 18,000, और उसने कर दिया. उसके 2B में दिखा, क्लाइंट ने उसका क्रेडिट ले लिया और 2 साल से उसका पेमेंट ही नहीं किया CA का, और दूसरे CA के पास चला गया, और वॉट एवर में बी द रीज़न. ठीक है, उसके यहाँ पे ऑडिट हुआ क्लाइंट के यहाँ पे, तो क्लाइंट बोलता है मेरे को ये सर्विस रिसीव ही नहीं हुई. सो नाउ दैट CA गॉट अ नोटिस फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट दैट यू हैव इशूड द इनवॉइस to so and so person, GST number so and so, issued the invoice without supply of service. So why you should not be, action should not be taken on you, interest penalty, etc, etc, etc. So be careful. This may be possible कि क्लाइंट ने दिया ही नहीं है साल 2 साल से पैसा और क्रेडिट ले लिया, और उसने उधर जाके क्या बोला, then again you will be stuck. So you should be in a position to prove that the services or goods of which you are taking credit should be received by you. Tax charge in respect of such supply has been actually paid to the credit of appropriate government. So another condition is 16C says that unless the supplier will make the payment, you will not get the credit. This is the biggest challenge. That is what the issue what we are discussing, कि supplier has not made the payment, recipient has received the goods or services, he has an invoice, he has made the payment also to the supplier for the goods or services along with GST. Then what will happen? So this is the important condition that you should fulfill. There are various judgments of the court, High Court, and High Courts are divided on this also. So Patna High Court in case of Astha Enterprises, where the recipient has purchased some goods and made the payment through a bank on the basis of the invoices issued by a selling dealer, and there is a movement of goods also purchased. तो ई वे बिल भी है, मूवमेंट भी है, फास्टैग में मोटर परिवहन की साइड पे सब दिख रहा है. The selling dealer has not paid up the tax liability to the state. The court said that the underlying object, the SEC says that the underlying object of the input tax credit regime brought is in to avoid the cascading effect of tax and would be totally frustrated if the department attempt recovery of tax from the purchasing dealer. The recovery has the character of a double taxation. That is what the SEC contended. कि double taxation है, मैंने already payment कर दिया, then again you are demanding from me. The court observed that the condition of such availment of credit has to be followed scrupulously, which there can be no benefit conferred on the SSE. The contention of double taxation does not impress since the claim is denied only because the government has not got the tax. So what court is saying is it cannot amount to double taxation since government has not got the credit, so credit to the recipient will be denied. Madras High Court in case of DY Bethel in the year 22, basically in February 21, says that here the fact is that the petitioner is a dealer of rubber sheet. The payment were made by the petitioner to the seller included in the tax component. A substantial portion of the sales consideration was paid through a banking channel. So basically fact more or less was same, but Madras High Court said that the tax has not reached to the kitty of the government, then the liability may have to be eventually borne by one party, either by the seller or the buyer. It is also observed that the respondent has not taken any recovery action against the seller. So here what happened is they have not taken any action against the seller, they directly started recovery from a recipient. So court said that the action, strict action should be first taken against the seller only, not from the buyer. And if you are not in a position to recover from seller, then you can go to the buyer. But nowadays, this kind of cases, more or less department is taking care of this. So this may not help us. So these are the similar kind of judgment on this. So I'm not, because various judgments are there and ultimately court is saying that somebody has to pay the tax and the recovery should be first made from the supplier, not from the recipient. If absconding, then definitely from you, from the recipient only. Because ultimately condition is there in 16(2)(c), which says that the payment should be made.
There was also contention stating that constitutional right of, under the constitution of India, it cannot be covered. What about those?
See, there are various things. Practically impossible for me to find out कि supplier ने payment किया कि नहीं किया. Is there any mechanism for me to find out? When GST law came in the initial stage, so you may be aware that they said first you need to file GSTR 1 by 10th, GSTR 2 by 15th, and GSTR 3 by 20th. करेक्ट? तो 2 में क्या होता था? 1 में जो आया वो क्रेडिट आपको दिखता था 2 में, 2A में दिखता था और 2 में आप उसको एक्सेप्ट रिजेक्ट एडिट करके आप भेज सकते थे। तो समझो किसी सप्लायर ने नहीं चढ़ाया मेरा क्रेडिट, तो भी मैं उसको डाल सकता था एडिट करके, आई कैन बी एबल टू टेक द क्रेडिट। दैट वाज द फैसिलिटी इन GSTR 2, वेदर यू आर अवेयर और नॉट, करेक्ट। बट उसने कभी भी स्टार्ट ही नहीं हुआ। सो देर इज नो टू वे कम्युनिकेशन। सो एज ऑफ नाउ, इवन इफ आई एम नॉट able to see in 2B, then also I can't take any action against my supplier. और 2B में दिख भी रहा है तो उसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि उसने पेमेंट कर ही दिया होगा। So as of now I do not have any option to say that or to take action against 2B or against my supplier saying that whether he has made the payment or not. Then can be recovered from you. That's what ultimately the court is saying. That's why it is important to find out the fact, and that's what we are saying, that if supplier absconding नहीं है तो आप उसके CA से सर्टिफिकेट लाओ या उसके रिटर्न की कॉपी लाओ, कुछ तो लाओ ताकि हम बोल सके कि he has made the payment as far as my supplies are concerned. बाकी उसने क्या किया मुझे नहीं पता, करेक्ट। So department has issued a circular and saying that you pay the correct tax and then you claim the refund under the wrong head. So supplier का मिस्टेक है, IGST में पे कर दिया तो CGST SGST में वो पे करेगा और IGST का उसको रिफंड मिल जाएगा. That is what the circular says. There is one judgment also and which says that अगर चलो ये circular के हिसाब से नहीं भी लिया, then you internally adjust करके. So there is no mechanism on the portal as of now for doing this, but the court specifically in that SSC's case, I do not remember the citation now, but they said that internally you adjust the same. Now another issue is in respect of 2A and 3B. All these issues are pertaining to till December 21. उसके बाद तो 2B आ गया है and now you are not permitted, and 2B specifically cover a situation 16(2)AA. Correct? There was no such condition as far as 16(2) is concerned earlier about 2A. Correct? So these are the condition already we have analyzed 16(2). ठीक है ना, 16(2) के कंडीशंस हमने एनालाइज कर लिए तो मैं वापस से नहीं जाता. एंड विच सेज दैट 2B का जो कंडीशन है वो 1 जनवरी 2022 से आया है, उसके पहले कोई कंडीशन 2A का नहीं था. देयर वॉज वन रूल 36(4). What rule 36(4) says that earlier so you will get a credit जितना 2A में दिखता है उसका 20% प्लस ले सकते हो. Then they have reduced to 10%, then they have reduced to 5%. Correct? On a different date. So they have put this restriction through rule 36(4). So these are the date. I am not going into the detail of what are the dates of 16(2). Department has issued one press release on 18th October 2018, where they have said that it is clarified that the furnishing of outward detail in Form GSTR1 by the corresponding supplier and the facility to view the same in Form 2A by the recipient is in the nature of taxpayer facilitation and does not impact the ability of the taxpayer to avail ITC on self-assessment. So if you read this, what is the meaning of this? तो दे सेड जो 2A में आपको दिख रहा है वो आपके खाली फैसिलिटेशन के लिए है कि क्या सप्लायर ने इनवॉइस अपलोड किए हैं, बट इट विल नॉट इम्पैक्ट योर एबिलिटी ऑफ द टैक्स पेयर टू अवेल ITC. सो आपका इम्पैक्ट इस पर कुछ भी नहीं है. अगर नहीं दिख रहा है, दैट इज वॉट आई इंटरप्रेट. इट डज नॉट हैव एनी इम्पैक्ट. Later on they come out with rule 36(4) and putting such restrictions. And then they have come out with circular number 183, December 22 में, where they have said that in the year 1718 and 1819, because this condition of 36(4) came in the September 2018. Correct? And this circular is talking about 1718 and 1819. So it says that if as per the circular, the mismatch between ITC as per 2A and a 3B, if there is a mismatch, if amount is less than 5 lakh rupees, then you take a declaration from the supplier. And if the amount is more than 5 lakh rupees, then take a CA certificate from a supplier. So there may be a possibility of 4 reasons of mismatch. One is non-filing of GSTR1 by the supplier, but without filing 1, he has made the payment under 3B. Second possibility is that he must have filed GSTR1, but this invoice has not been reported, but the payment has been made in 3B. Third possibility is that instead of B to B transaction, he must have disclosed this in B to C transaction. Then also it will not come to your 2A. And fourth possibility is GSTR1 में उसने GST number wrong डाल दिया, आपके बदले किसी और का डाल दिया. This may be the only 4 possibility that that the supplier has made the payment, but it is not disclosed in your 2A. So take the reason from the supplier in that declaration, and on the basis of that declaration we will give the credit. Then again the issue crop up for the further period from 1st April 19 till 31st December 21. During that period rule 36(4) was there. Yes or no? So they have said that whatever has been mentioned in rule 183 for 2 years period will further you can take the benefit subject to condition of restriction what has been put in 36(4). And there is further one judgment of Supreme Court in case of Suncraft. Calcutta High Court has given, then department went to the Supreme Court and Supreme Court affirmed the Calcutta High Court judgment. And here the fact was that only on the basis of 2A and 3B they have rejected the ITC. So they said that only on the basis of difference between 2A and 3B that you cannot reject. What you have to find out is whether the supplier has made the payment or not. If he has made the payment, whatever may be the reason of wrong reporting or etc., the credit cannot be denied. Recently, last month also, one of the High Court has upheld the validity of Rule 36(4) also. So, in my view, till September 2019, when there was no Rule 36(4), on the basis of 2A, they cannot deny the credit. If you can be able to prove that you are satisfying all the conditions of 16(2), including that supplier also has made the payment of the tax. But after that, September 19, that within, if it is within that limit of 20%, 10% or 5%, you will get the benefit. Otherwise, you will not get the benefit. So we will break for tea and then again reassemble. Yeah, the next issue is, and which is very common, whether ITC is available to the registered person on such receipt of goods. This is one of the prime condition that what we have seen. Correct? So how you will read and interpret the word receipt is a question mark. Take an example. If there is a company who is selling goods to a dealer and they said my all contracts are X factory, not supplier's place, then when you will presume that this goods has been received, when you received by the recipient in his godown, or whether the goods has been already moved from the factory. Second scenario, in case of a service, you took the insurance claim. And in case of an insurance claim, मेरा 1 जनवरी से लेके 31 दिसंबर तक का पीरियड है. So I made the payment to the insurance company somewhere in December में, जनवरी के पहले ही. But my service will start on 1st January and on next year. Correct? So when I should get the credit? Correct? When you will say that it has been received. This is another, take another case. I booked the air ticket. Today the month is June. 30th June को मैंने एक टिकट बुक किया for the month of December. After 6 months, I am planning to travel for some business purpose in the month of December. So when I have received the service, December, June itself, or what? So this is again a big issue. So how you will interpret the word received? Because this I have already seen that it has to be received, then only you will get the credit. Correct? बराबर ना? Then what is the meaning of receipt of goods or services? It has been given in explanation to section 16.2. And explanation says that for the purpose of this clause, it shall be deemed that the registered person has received the goods, or as the case may be, services, where the goods are delivered by the supplier to a recipient or any other person on the direction of such registered person, whether acting as an agent or otherwise, before or during movement of goods, either by way of transfer of document of title to the goods or otherwise. This is what the explanation says. Then further it says that where the services are provided by the supplier to any person on the direction of and on account of registered person. So this explanation is there. Now coming to first, we will deal with the goods case. When it will deemed to be received, or it is received. So on this, they have issued one circular, circular number 249, and it is very important, dated 31st December 2024, where they took the example in this is that there is a car manufacturing company. And in case of car manufacturing company, they always deliver goods X factory. Definitely they arrange their own transportation. Manufacturer arrange transportation for goods to be delivered at the dealer's godown. And the dealers directly make the payment to the transporter. But transporter का arrangement होता है हमेशा company का. सो इन देयर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रास्ते में कुछ भी हुआ, इंश्योरेंस लेना है, गाड़ी चोरी हो गई, डैमेज हो गई, all risk belongs to the dealer. This is what the contract they are having. They say that explanation to clause B of section 16(2), which defines or which give clarity about the received. And they say that the goods are delivered by the supplier to a recipient or any other person on the direction of such registered person, whether acting as an agent or otherwise. Such direction may be given before or during the movement of the goods. That's what we have seen in the explanation. And the goods may be delivered either by way of transfer of document or title to the goods or otherwise. So, जरूरी नहीं है कि गुड्स एक्चुअल डिलीवर हो, टाइटल भी डिलीवर हो सकता है. On a plain reading of clause B of section 16(2) of CGST, it is quite apparent that there is no reference of any particular place where the goods are required to be received by registered person. So only if you read the explanation as well as 16(2)(b, which says that you should receive the goods. Where it has to be received, when it has to be received, all these are silent. Correct? This is in the contrast to the erstwhile central excise regime. In central excise regime, what we have to do was, we have to register each factory as a different SSC. Correct? And it is a specific registration, and the Senvet credit rules, earlier Senvet credit rules says that you should receive the goods or services in the factory or in the premises of the recipient. Whether you have read it or not, I don't know. Correct? So the condition was that it should be received in the premises of the recipient. The word premises is missing in the GST law. So it says this is in contrast to the erstwhile central excise regime, where the provision contemplated physical receipt of goods at the factory of the manufacturer or for taking credit. So that is, no condition is there in the section 16(2). In the most of the state VAT law earlier, erstwhile, the provision related to the credit of the input tax credit did not have any explicit mention of physical receipt of goods at a particular place. So VAT में हमको मिलता था, correct? Service tax या excise में नहीं मिलता था. It has to be received in the premises, because that was the condition. But that conditions are missing. In such scenario, the property in the goods can be considered to have been passed to the dealer by the OEM on the factory premises itself. Circular further says that it is clarified that the condition of 16(2)(b), the registered person, the dealer, can be considered to have received the said goods at the time of such handing over of the goods by the supplier to the transporter, because transporter is now the agent of the dealer. Correct? If you see the explanation, it says that if it is received by the agent also. And further it says, it is very important that this clarification, it is also mentioned that as per the provision of section 16(1), a registered person is entitled to input tax credit only in respect of supply of goods or services or both, which is used or intended to be used in the course or furtherance of business. What is the meaning of this? Yes. So this circular is very clear that if you have an intention to use that goods or services, it is deemed to be received. That is what the department circular says. So we have one more interpretation by the department. We were using this earlier also, but we do not have any legal backing to that. And therefore, the input tax credit may be available to the registered person on such receipt of goods by the said registered person from the supplier at the supplier's factory gate or business premises. So I hope I am clear. Yes or no? Yes, sir. This is not my today's topic. But anyway, it's very good question what you have asked. So, if you go to section 22, section 22 says that you should register from where you are supplying a service or goods. Location of the supplier has to be registered. Clear? No ambiguity in this? When you go to rule section 7 as well as section 8 of the IGST Act, correct? Which says what is interstate and what is intrastate. Section 7 says that if the location of supplier and the place of supply is in two different state or union territory or two different taxable territory, then it will be interstate supply. Correct? Intrastate means location of the supplier and the place of supply should be within the same state or same union territory, then it will be intrastate. So, three provisions we have read it. Clear with this? Now, read together. Location of the supplier and the place of supply. Is it possible to have a two different premises, two different places? Otherwise, interstate तो कुछ भी नहीं होता. Yes or no? Nowhere in the IGST Act they talk about the registration. They talk about registration in CGST Act. Section 22 is not talking the place of supply. They are not saying that you should register at the place of supply. नहीं ना, वो बोलता है लोकेशन ऑफ द सप्लायर को रजिस्टर करना है, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई को नहीं करना है. Correct? Clear? Now you answer me this question. Your question का आप ही आंसर दे सकते हो. Correct. So they are not required to register in case they are giving a construction service or a work contract service. But practically what is happening, this is what the legal interpretation is. Take another issue is, मेरे को अटल सेतु बनाने का काम दे दिया कंस्ट्रक्शन का, ठीक है, वो बॉम्बे से जा रहा है नवी मुंबई, भाई किधर रजिस्टर करूं? There is no CTS number also on the sea. Whether government will give me NOC or lease agreement to register समुद्र के ऊपर. I am supplying service there, na? That place of supply is that place. Correct? So can I register? As an auditor, suppose I got an audit of Reliance, तो मैं उसका गंसोली के फैक्ट्री में मेरे को अलाउ करेगा रजिस्टर करने को, और रजिस्टर किया तो दूसरे दिन इंस्टीट्यूट मुझे नोटिस भेज देगा. देयर इज नो इंडिपेंडेंस. करेक्ट? सो माय इंटरप्रिटेशन इज, do not confuse with the location of the supplier and the place of supply. Now coming to your point, most of these contracts are work contract. बराबर है? वर्क कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के केस में मैं किसी और से लेबर हायर करता हूं, खाली लेबर का मैंने लिया है समझो, तो मैंने लेबर लिया आपसे, आपका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा? यू आर इन महाराष्ट्र, आई एम ऑल्सो इन महाराष्ट्र, बट वर्क साइट इज इन बैंगलोर. सो सप्लायर का प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा? बैंगलोर. रिसिपिएंट विल गेट द क्रेडिट? नहीं मिलेगा ना, कि प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई बैंगलोर है, बैंगलोर में वो रजिस्टर ही नहीं है, तो उसको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा. सपोज मैंने गुड्स भी परचेज किया एज अ रिसिपिएंट, तो प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई फॉर द बैंगलोर विल बी द बैंगलोर. अगेन आई एम नॉट रजिस्टर्ड, आई विल नॉट गेट द क्रेडिट. और वर्क कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में ऐसा नहीं कि 50% 100% का धंधा है. करेक्ट, मार्जिन इज थिन. So if you will not get the credit, there is no viability to do a business in that state. So practically, और कोई के खुद के इतने लेबर खुद के नहीं होते कि पूरा 100% लेबर खुद ही लगा दे. अगर आपके पूरे लेबर हैं और बॉम्बे से आपने मूव किया कर्नाटक, then practically no issue. If you are hiring a labor, maybe from Maharashtra party, then also you will not get the credit. And otherwise commercially that contract may not be viable. So practically you are required to take the registration. बट डिपेंडिंग ऑन द फैक्ट. हमारे एक केस में उसने बोला मैं सारे के सारे लेबर बॉम्बे से ही लेके जाने वाला हूँ और मेरे पेरोल पे ही है, एंड आई हैव ओनली लेबर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, आई डू नॉट हैव एनी मटेरियल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. सो देन ही चूज नॉट टू टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन इन बैंगलोर, बट अदरवाइज प्रैक्टिकली ही हैज टू टेक. क्लियर सर? Sir, we can discuss maybe offline because others may or may not be interested. Yeah, so this circular is very clear, correct? So maybe the insurance claim, you can get it. Maybe the air ticket, in my view, you can get it or not. You can get it in the month of June itself because you have an intention to use that service. That is what this is. And again, if you go to the tax invoice, in case of a traveling, air ticket, bus ticket, train ticket, the ticket is only the tax invoice. That is specifically they have covered that it is a tax invoice. So I have received a tax invoice also in the month of June itself because ticket issue हो गई तो tax invoice तो automatic हो गया. So on that basis I will get the credit. Correct, because मेरे को पोजीशन में 16(2)(a) says that I should be in possession of tax invoice. So I am satisfying all the conditions. So I will get the credit. So because nowadays many notices has been issued by a department saying that you have not received the goods in your premises, which was required under the erstwhile excise or service tax law, not in the erstwhile VAT regime also, not required in the GST regime also. So this circular will help in this kind of cases.
In your case, you said that the ticket was taken in June. Traveling is in December, in the same year. But suppose ticket is taken in February, and traveling is after 31st March. In that case,
Yes. Because law is same, no? Because law is not interpreting financial year. It says that you should have a tax invoice. It should be there in your 2B. वो 2B में जैसे ही एयरलाइन का आना ही चाहिए. Correct? I have received the service. The received का interpretation also we have read. Correct? So I am satisfying that condition. Supplier must have made the payment and I should claim the credit. These are the 4-5 conditions that I am satisfying. So I will get the credit. And it is for... Yeah. So take another example. मैं एक फैक्ट्री लगा रहा हूँ, मैंने एक मशीन खरीदा, मेरे फैक्ट्री पे आ गया, उसका पुट टू यूज होने को और 2 साल लगने वाला है, इंस्टॉलेशन एक्सेट्रा. When I will claim the depreciation? Once it will be put to use after 2 years. But GST law, what it says that once I receive the goods, I can claim the credit. There is no restriction as such, no financial year, nothing. So भले ही मैं डेप्रिसिएशन नहीं क्लेम कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मैं GST का क्रेडिट तो ले सकता हूँ मशीन का. Related to this, another issue is whether ITC can be claimed in case of advance paid. नहीं. Take example, sir. अटल सेतु. How many of you have traveled through Atal Setu? ये 2 ही जन बस, 3 जन, 4-5 जन. Good. So that contract was given to L&T and IHI consortium. And any construction contract कोई भी आप देखेंगे ना, बड़े जो project होते हैं, so it is always given to a consortium by the government because two companies come together because एक की उतनी eligibility नहीं बैठती है कई बार because of technical, financial, other reasons. Maybe they not have a know-how also to construct. So they come together and then they decide, consortium will decide कि इसको ये काम करना है और इसको ये काम करना है channel consortium partner को, and that कंसोर्टियम का भी वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में गया होता है गवर्नमेंट के पास कि किसका क्या रोल है, बट गवर्नमेंट ओनली रिकॉग्नाइज कंसोर्टियम. सो कंसोर्टियम ओनली कीप 5%, 2%, 3% एंड रेस्ट कंसोर्टियम पार्टनर को चला जाता है, क्योंकि कंसोर्टियम में पैसा ही नहीं रखना है ना उसको, उसका जो शेयर है वो उधर से लेके जाते हैं अपने अपने. आई होप यू मे बी अवेयर अबाउट दिस काइंड ऑफ अरेंजमेंट्स. हाँ, करेक्ट. वी वोंट गो इनटू दैट कि एडमिन चार्जेस है या क्या है, बट वो 5% का मार्जिन से ज़्यादा कभी कंसोर्टियम में छोड़ते ही नहीं है प्रैक्टिकली. करेक्ट सर. टेक एन एग्जाम्पल, मैं बोला मैक्सिमम 5 से ज़्यादा नहीं छोड़ते, मतलब मैक्सिमम 5 है, 2% जनरली होता है. सो टेक एन एग्जाम्पल, अतल सेतु का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट L&T एंड IHI को मिला, उसने बैक टू बैक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया L&T को, ठीक है. एंड ऑल दिस काइंड ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नीड सम एडवांस फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, मोबिलाइजेशन एडवांस, उसके बिना तो काम ही नहीं होगा बिकॉज दे नीड टू मूव लेबर, नीड टू मूव मशीन एंड नीड टू मूव द गुड्स ऑल्सो. सो गवर्नमेंट हैज गिवन सपोज 10 करोड़ रुपीज टू द कंसोर्टियम. कंसोर्टियम क्या करेगा, 9.5 करोड़ रुपया दे देगा L&T को, देन ओनली L&T विल मूव ना. सपोज हम सोचते हैं कि 5% इसने मार्जिन इधर छोड़ा है, कंसोर्टियम विल लायबल टू पे GST, yes or no? L&T will also be liable to pay GST on 9.5 crore what he received. उसका 18% भरना है, तो पैसा लाएंगे किधर से? करेक्ट. 1,80,00,000 रुपया भरना है ना रफली, इसको भी और उसको भी भरना है. तो मोबिलाइजेशन एडवांस में से मेरा 1,80,00,000 इधर निकल गया, तो मेरे पास कुछ बचा ही नहीं. सो वेदर L&T विल गेट द, कंसोर्टियम विल गेट द ITC of what L&T has paid. So this is a judgment of Bombay High Court, came in the month of December 24. उसके बाद ये circular भी आया after this judgment, and this is very good judgment. Again they are interpreting how you have to read the word received. So they said that L&T will not issue any tax invoice because service has not been delivered. But the law says that L&T is required to issue a receipt voucher. Correct? That too you are aware? Whatever money has been paid by consortium to L&T is in the course or furtherance of business, section 16(1). Intended to be used in the course or furtherance of business, 16(1). And further it says that what is receipt voucher? Receipt voucher is nothing but again a tax invoice only. If you read that chapter of tax invoice which cover tax invoice, ticket, receipt voucher, debit note, etc. Everything. So receipt voucher is also nothing but a tax invoice. So you are satisfying all the conditions. Section 31 recognizes receipt voucher as a tax invoice only. Hence, you are satisfying all the conditions. Hence, the credit will be available to the consortium for the advance given to a consortium partner.
Sir, but the LLP will not be shown it as a stage. It will be shown as an advance receipt, the GST or one. That doesn't go to the 2B of the consortium. How will the department allow him to take the credit? It will not be available to 2B of that person.
सर रिसीट वाउचर आपने डाला है ना. व्हाट इज सेल? सेल यू आर रिकॉग्नाइज इन योर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट. सेल हैज नो मीनिंग एज फार एज द जीएसटी इज कंसर्न. दे हैव ओनली मीनिंग ऑफ सप्लाई. आपका सेल नहीं भी हुआ तो भी सप्लाई हो सकता है सर. एक ब्रांच से दूसरे ब्रांच पे जा रहा है, मैं बुक्स में सेल दिखाता ही नहीं हूँ. दैट इज नॉट माई सेल, बट इट इज सप्लाई एंड आई नीड टू पे टैक्स. So similar way. So it will come in 2B of the recipient, receipt voucher also. And the credit will be available. So this is also a good judgment how to interpret all these things. Whether one person has asked me a question कि wrong GSTN हो गया है. किधर है भाई साहब? हाँ सर. So whether a person is entitled to claim input tax credit despite an inadvertent error in the supplier's invoice which mentioned the wrong GSTN. There is a judgment of B. Baron Medical India Private Limited. Again, it is a recent judgment. Here, whether the petitioner is entitled to claim input tax credit despite error in the supplier's invoice which mentioned that the petitioner's Bombay GSTN instead of correct Delhi GSTN. So उसने बॉम्बे GSTN दिखाया, दिल्ली GSTN पे माल सप्लाई किया, दिल्ली ने उसका क्रेडिट ले लिया. So court said that the court observed that the only discrepancy was the incorrect GSTN and the department did not dispute that the petitioner was the actual recipient. So that was not the query. Goods has been received by a recipient, whether Bombay GSTN or whether Delhi GSTN. Rejection of ITC based solely on minor invoice error would cause substantial loss. The impugned order rejecting ITC was set aside and allowing the petitioner to claim. So in this case they have allowed. So sir, you can also try this judgment. This is a recent one. नहीं डेफिनेटली सर, ये कोर्ट के जो जजमेंट है हम बात कब कर रहे हैं कि जब हम फंस गए हैं. इसमें क्या हुआ है कि उसने दिल्ली में क्रेडिट ले लिया, 2 साल 3 साल के बाद 16(4) का सब टाइम लिमिट वगैरह जाने के बाद जब डिपार्टमेंट ने देखा और उसको नोटिस दे दिया, उसके बाद अब ऑप्शन नहीं है उसको रेक्टिफाई करने का. सी वॉट एवर आई एम डिस्कसिंग, सी ऑलवेज आई से दैट इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स इज अ गोल्डन, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स इज अ टैक्स which you are recovering and pay. So जब भी आपको सही है कि गलत है, रिकवरी का मौका है, so do not come to consultant like us, collect and pay the tax. Because nothing going from your pocket, but later on litigation cost will be on you. Same तरीके से जितना आप पोर्टल पे रेक्टिफाई कर सकते हो, डेफिनेटली यू शुड डू इट एंड टेक द बेनिफिट. ये सब चीज़ें कब है? जब आप फंस गए हो और आपके पास और कोई रास्ता नहीं है. Then next is the time limit for claiming ITC under 16(4) is constitutionally valid. So there is an Andhra Pradesh High Court judgment in the year 23 where they have discussed this issue in great detail and they said that it is constitutionally valid. Here the issue is that if you read section 16(2), which says notwithstanding anything contained in this section. So once this has been given, So the SSC's interpretation was that 16.2 is overriding 16.4. And there is no such condition in 16.2 for any time limit. So then 16.4 cannot restrict me to take the credit. And again, this is not a constitutionally valid also. So court has interpreted and court has ultimately said that if there is a contradiction between two subsections, then definitely 16.2 will prevail. But there is no contradiction between 2 and 4, subsection 2 and subsection 4, because both are operating independently. Hence, the whatever time limit has been given in 16.4 is valid and it is constitutionally also valid. Next issue is whether a person can claim ITC on car purchase to be provided on lease to various other entities. मिलेगा? कार पे तो क्रेडिट नहीं है ना? हाँ? Yes. So this issue was raised before AR in Madhya Pradesh, where the SSC has purchased a car and given on monthly lease rental to somebody else. And AR also says that 16A says that if, 17.5A says that if it is for the further supply, then motor car credit is allowed, and further is not defined, but supply has been defined in the law, and supply cover leasing, and further is prefix in this subclause, so credit of the same will be allowed. Again the issue of CSR, but now CSR specifically they have come out with the restrictions, so now you cannot claim, but prior period you can claim. Then another judgment I will cover of safari retreat. I hope everybody is aware about safari retreat. What is that? Plant and machinery, plant or machinery. So section 17.5C is talking about taking of work contract, credit of work contract service. It says that if you are taking a work contract service, it is for further supply of work contract, then credit will be allowed. And if you are taking a work contract service for construction of plant and machinery, then credit will be allowed. 17.5D says that if you are purchasing any goods or maybe any services for work contract or for a construction, then that credit is restricted, subject to condition that if it is been used for plant or machinery. And then they have defined plant and machinery, but they have not defined plant or machinery. Further, safari retreat was dealt by Odisha High Court, and Odisha High Court has said that it is constitutionally not valid clause that you are restricting 17.5C or D as per Article 14 of the Constitution, since you are charging for the leasing of mall. So you are charging GST, so that GST credit should not be denied. So on the constitutional validity, he said that constitutionally this clause is not valid. Department went into the Supreme Court and department said no, constitutionally this entry is valid. Plant or machinery and plant and machinery are two different terminology. Plant or machinery again has been interpreted by a Supreme Court in case of income tax in various kind of judgment, and they said that hotel building or cinema theater cannot be treated as plant. So 17.5D credit will not be allowed. 17.5C to credit under any circumstances not allowed if you are giving on leasing. As far as D is concerned, what is plant need to be interpreted by a high court. So you have given on warehouse given on rent, mall given on rent, All this kind, whether it can be treated as plant, again they have remanded back to Odisha High Court. Meanwhile, department filed a review petition to the Supreme Court to review this case again, which has been rejected. But last budget, in the 25, they have amended the law itself, and 17(5)(d) also they have replaced plant or machinery with plant and machinery with retrospective amendment from 1st July 2017. Again, this is very important or very good advance ruling from Karnataka authority. We all know WIRC, correct? What they are doing? Shared places, correct? So एक bare shell लिया, उसमें टाइल्स लगाया, पार्टीशन लगाए, करेक्ट, अलग अलग केबिन बनाए, टेबल कुर्सी लगाया, and which they give on per table basis to a client. That is what their business is. Now the here issue is that जो वुडन फ्लोरिंग किया, जो पार्टीशन लगाया, जो स्लाइड लगाया, उसका क्रेडिट मिलेगा कि नहीं? Whether they will get the credit of the same? Correct. Yeah, they are leasing out, but तो 17(5)(c) और D के हिसाब से क्या होगा सर? Yes, that what the advance ruling authority says, that if it can be movable, that it cannot be a work contract, because work contract definition is specifically in GST. We are not discussing erstwhile work contract definition. GST, it will be when it is immovable property. So if that flooring, wooden flooring can be detachable, partition can be detachable, sliding can be detachable, so all these are detachable, so it cannot be a work contract, and 17(5)(c) or D will not apply, and they will get the credit of the same. So no restriction at all. Explanation to section 17(5)(d), which specifically says that to the extent it is capitalized, only they are restricting that. So now, in case of societies, they are not capitalizing it. Take example of hotel building. हर 3 साल में आप जाओगे, उसके कमरे में कलर करता है, POP चेंज करता है, कुछ ना कुछ करते रहता है. All these are again immovable, but they are not capitalizing it. All this credit will be allowed. So these are all the issues that I thought was important to cover as far as ITC is concerned, and whatever I discussed today was my opinions or views. And opinions or views are like wristwatches. Every watch shows different time from others, but everyone believes that their time is right. Thanks all of you for making this session interactive. I have already shared my PPT with the institute, so definitely they will share with all of you. Thank you. If you have any questions, then we can take up. That you have to upload, na? Otherwise how liability will come? So what is supply? Again, it says for furtherance of business. If you read the definition supply, section 7, if somebody has book or maybe you can read that. So it also cover further. मतलब furtherance of business and etc. Future also. Supply or to be supplied. Yes. So आप अलग वैसे भी आप multiple series आप बना सकते हो. So multiple series करके you can upload that. See, ultimately what is receipt voucher is again a tax invoice. If you go to section 31, which is very categorically says tax invoice, and in that they include this ticket, receipt voucher, etc. नहीं नहीं, आपने एक रेसिट वाउचर इशू किया, समझो 10 करोड़ रुपए का रेसिट वाउचर इशू किया, फिर एक 15 करोड़ का इन्वॉइसिंग किया, समझो 4 महीने के बाद, और उसमें से 1 करोड़ काट दिया, तो आप क्या करोगे? अकाउंट में तो 15 करोड़ बुक करोगे सेल्स, बट जब इन्वॉइस इशू करोगे, टैक्स इन्वॉइस इशू करोगे, सो यू विल डिस्क्लोज लेस एडवांस 1 करोड़ रुपीस, and then taxable value 14 crore, and on that 14 crore you will charge GST. So this is the way you have to issue an invoice in case of advance whenever you are adjusting. So आप डबल टैक्सेशन नहीं होगा ना. एंड देन रिसीट के वाउचर के केस में आपको वो फिर क्रेडिट नोट और वो इश्यूज नहीं आते हैं, नहीं तो अदरवाइज टैक्स इन्वॉइस आपने डाला तो क्रेडिट नोट के इश्यूज आते हैं. नहीं, बट इसको वैसे दिखाना है सर, वैसे नहीं दिखाएंगे तो सामने वाले को क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा. नहीं, रिसीट वाउचर है ना, so it is outward supply only ना, receipt voucher is also part of outward supply. हाँ, वो नहीं दिखाना है ना वहाँ पे, otherwise the recipient will not get the credit, no, and system cannot restrict the benefit which has been given in the law. So to that extent system is faulty. कहाँ पे? When you issue tax invoice later on ना, हाँ, तो वो तो सर टैक्स इन्वॉइस आपका टैक्सेबल वैल्यू तो 14 करोड़ ही होगा ना, 15 होगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि ऑन दैट यू हैव ऑलरेडी पेड द टैक्स, एंड दिस इशू विल कम ओनली एंड ओनली इन केस ऑफ सर्विसेज, बिकॉज गुड्स के केस में तो आपको टैक्स भरना ही नहीं है, तो उस टाइम पे आपको इशू नहीं है. दैट गुड्स के केस में जो भी एडवांसेज है आप नीचे दिखा दो, उसका कोई चैलेंज नहीं है. चलो, so we'll close. Thank you. फिनिश हो गया बोलो ना. I think chairman sir is coming. What he is communicated, maybe he want to communicate something to all of you. पूछ जरा बताओ अंदर. हाँ? सर ये तो देखो ऐसा ही है. कंसोर्टियम क्या क्यों करते हैं? बिकॉज मेरा अदरवाइज एलिजिबिलिटी नहीं बैठता, या मेरे पास उतना नो हाउ नहीं है अकेले के दम पे. हम्म हम्म तो देखना पड़ेगा वर्ल्ड बैंक का है कि नहीं, दैट आई डोंट नो. बट if you see now in 23 they have made some 23 or 20, no, sorry 24 they have made an amendment in the GST law. What you said, I am on that point, where they said that they have given a power to GST council कि you can interpret the law, government can issue a clarification based on the trade practices followed, which is need of the hour. And if you see that ice cream parlor, which is a classic case, in case of a ice cream parlor, I hope everybody has visited, correct? उसमें वो टेबल कुर्सी भी लगाता है, फूड लाइसेंस भी लेना उसको ज़रूरी है, एंड वो उधर आइसक्रीम बेचता है. इफ़ यू गो टू अ रेस्टोरेंट, उसमें बोलता है आपको मैं 5% GST लूँगा एंड नो ITC. आइसक्रीम पार्लर इज रेस्टोरेंट में वैसे कोई फ़र्क नहीं है, करेक्ट? बट इंडस्ट्री वेंट टू द गवर्नमेंट एंड सेड दैट आइसक्रीम जो हमारी बनती है वो फैक्ट्री पे बनती है और उस पर 18% GST है. देन सेम मैं लेके जाता हूँ मेरे फ्रेंचाइजी के पास, बिकॉज दे ऑल आइसक्रीम पार्लर ऑपरेट थ्रू अ फ्रेंचाइजी मॉडल, करेक्ट? उसके पास लेके जाता हूँ, उससे कुछ फ्रेंचाइजी फीस लेता हूँ. ऑल दिस फ्रेंचाइजी वर्क ऑन अ रेंटल प्रीमाइसेस. सो मेरा रेंट का खर्चा है, फ्रेंचाइजी का खर्चा है और मेरा आइसक्रीम का जो इनपुट है वो. सो मेरे को ये वायबिलिटी नहीं बैठती है. सो यू पुट अस आइसक्रीम पार्लर इन 18% with ITC and we will be more than happy. So government on the basis of this accepted their plea, and if you read that circular also, which is very good circular, which says that if you are selling ice cream as it is, then it will be 18%. बट आइसक्रीम पार्लर में हम जाते हैं तो हमको कई बार संडे देता है, करेक्ट? या वॉफेल के ऊपर करके कुछ वैल्यू एडिशन करके देता है. देन इज नॉट सेलिंग आइसक्रीम एज इट इज, देन इट इज नॉट अ सेल ऑफ आइसक्रीम, देन इट विल बी 5% ऑन दैट, ट्रीटेड एज रेस्टोरेंट. बट सेलिंग ऑफ आइसक्रीम एज इट विल बी 18%. Because this is the industry demand, otherwise this industry will not survive. Then again issue came कि भाई आप आइसक्रीम बेच रहे हो और मैं फूड बेच रहा हूँ सिनेमा थिएटर में. थिएटर में हम जाते हैं ना तो हमको पॉपकॉर्न देता है, समोसा देता है, वो तो सब रेडी ला के किधर और से ला के बेचता है. तो उस पर क्या 8 लगाने का फिर, करेक्ट? बिकॉज दे आर सेलिंग, दे आर नॉट restaurant, na? So again they issued a clarification. They said no, this will be, we treat this as a restaurant only because the industry demands that. Because 18 उनको भारी पड़ेगा. Yeah, can you repeat, sir?
No, there was a news item. GST Council is thinking to reduce the number of tax rates. All will be average 12% or something like that.
How many tax rates are there in India, sir? If you want to throw some light on that.
I think it is 6, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, 42%. That luxury goods and all that.
एक नील रेटेड टैक्स है,
हाँ,
एक एग्जाम सप्लाई है, दोनों में है नील रेटी लेकिन दोनों अलग अलग गिनते हैं,
हाँ,
ठीक है? देन 0.25% ऑन डायमंड,
या
देन 3% ऑन ज्वेलरी.
हमारा उसके साथ में काम नहीं है, तो उसको
नहीं, मैं बताता
ध्यान
हूँ.
भी नहीं रहता है.
तो मैं बताता हूँ, 3% ऑन ज्वेलरी. रेसिडेंशियल हाउस पे 7.5%. अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग 1.5%. फिर 5, 12, 18, 28, 0.1% और मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर. ठीक है. देन सेस अलग है. सो आई डिड अ कैलकुलेशन, तो टोटल 34 स्लैब देखे मैंने. ओवर एंड अबव इन केस ऑफ अ टोबैको, on the basis of machine capacity, now they will charge GST. जो ओल्ड रिजिम में था ना एक्साइज में, तो वो वापस लेके आए. एंड इफ यू गो टू एनी पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, 154 country has adopted this GST or VAT, whatever name called. या तो सिंगल टैक्स रेट है या ट्विन टैक्स रेट है, स्टैंडर्ड एंड लग्जरी, दो ही है. और हमारे इधर 34 है, उसके ऊपर भी मशीनरी तो बाकी है. सो अभी वो क्या है, साला 12 को मर्ज भी कर देंगे सर. सो क्या हासिल होगा आई डोंट नो, लेट्स सी. बट अगर कम करने का रियली में है एंड दे कैन बी एबल टू सक्सीड, इट विल बी अ ग्रेट थिंग. सो ऑल दिस क्लासिफिकेशन इशू विल गो. सर वो ऑप्शन नहीं है ना. स्टैंड अलोन रेस्टोरेंट जो है उसको उसने 5% में कंपलसरी डाला है एंड स्पेसिफाइड प्रीमाइसेस 18% है. देयर यू कैन टेक द क्रेडिट. See, previously they put in 12% and 18% with ITC. Then people started hue and cry कि इतना महंगा क्यों है, 12% टैक्स लग गया, हल्ला गुल्ला चालू हुआ इन द ईयर 2017. सो दे सेड ओके कीप इट 5%. एंड रेस्टोरेंट में वैसे भी ये चिल्लाते हैं कि हमको कुछ क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता है. तो तब से वो चला आ रहा है सर. So there is no category called veg or non-veg. ठीक है. Most of the restaurants serve both.